For 12,000 years, the Galactic Empire had ruled with arrogance disguised as order. It wasn't the strongest in technology. It wasn't the fastest to innovate, but it was the loudest, the oldest, and the most ruthlessly hierarchical. Dozens of alien species bowed beneath its polished boots, not out of respect, but out of survival. And those who didn't, they were turned into ashes and examples. The Empire's elite, the Sithri, spoke in riddles of tradition. They floated above commoners in gravity-nullifying thrones, rarely touching dirt or air not filtered through 8 purification systems. They were living relics in a system built to perpetuate ceremony over sense. And now, for the first time in 3 centuries, a new signal had emerged on the edge of explored space. A human signal, not just a message. A pulse of encryption, mathematics, and star mapping so sharp and alien it shocked the Senate. It wasn't just advanced. It was efficient, blunt, cold, human. The Empire didn't understand it, and that scared them. Within hours, the Grand Council declared the species a potential threat. By morning, they had sent a diplomatic dreadnought, not to talk, to intimidate. 1.1 Arrival over Earth word count 1,500. The dreadnought judicator of order exited FDL just beyond the Earth-Moon Lagrange point, a mountain of metal, shaped more for symbolism than practicality. Gleaming spires, towering fins, endless surface banners of gold and purple. The ship dwarfed most vessels, trailing a fleet of armed frigates. Cameras rolled. Ceremonies began. They expected humans to kneel or at least tremble. Instead, Earth responded with a civilian science ship, the Copernicus Horizon, old, boxy, barely armed, and very unimpressed. The transmission from the humans was brief. Greetings. Identify yourselves and state purpose. The Empire's delegation paused. No ceremonial titles. No frightened pleading. Just a flat, human voice. Aboard the Judicator, Ambassador Lurex VIII straightened his 8-armed ceremonial cape and activated the visual channel. He expected a leader. What he got was a tired-looking woman with coffee in hand, adjusting a headset. This is Dr. Lena Huerta, acting science officer. Our diplomats are en route. You can wait in orbit or leave. Your choice. The ambassador's smile faltered. 1.2. The ceremony crumbles word count. 1,500. The Empire had never been treated this way. When Ambassador Lurex insisted on initiating first contact protocols, he demanded a formal meeting space be constructed in Earth's orbit. Humans responded by sending a VR feed link. A virtual room appeared, clean, minimal, efficient. No thrones, no incense, no guards, just digital chairs and a polite voice prompt. Begin when ready. The Empire's delegation logged in with an entourage of 30 nobles, each draped in glowing regalia. Human side, 2 people. Casual clothes. No translator needed. Their language systems had already mapped the Empire's tongue perfectly. Ambassador Lurex began a 12-minute ceremonial address about the glory of the Empire, its cosmic stewardship, and its divine mandate. He was halfway through when Dr. Huerta muted him. "Sorry," she said, sipping her drink, "but we don't do monologues. Get to the point." Lurex blinked. "You dare interrupt the legacy voice of the Celestial." She rolled her eyes. "This is a science channel. You want philosophy? Go call a priest." The other human, a bearded man with a bored expression, added, "You guys seriously fly around the galaxy giving speeches? No wonder your tech's a decade behind." A few chuckles followed. The ambassador looked horrified, but the humans kept smiling. 1.3. The laughter begins. Word count. 1,500. Back on Earth, the encounter was being watched by every government, military, and civilian observer network. The reactions were consistent. Disbelief, then silence, then laughter. A galactic empire that looked like it crawled out of a cosplay convention? Ceremonies? Velvet robes? Handwritten scrolls? The meme started within minutes. One popular clip showed Ambassador Lurex delivering his speech over a laugh track. Another replaced his throne with a fast food chair. The hashtag Space Wizards began trending globally. Even top military analysts were laughing until they stopped, because the Empire, beneath all its showboating, had real numbers: ships, troops, territory. But what it didn't have was depth. Their ships ran on fuel cells 3 generations behind Earth's antimatter turbines. Their AI was hard-coded, barely adaptive. Their weapons were mass-based railguns with no directed energy or precision strike systems. Humanity wasn't just ahead. They had sprinted past Empire. Quietly, in the shadows, the laughter faded into planning. 1.4. Quiet calculation word count, 1,500. Within the UN Off-World Command, Admiral Vasquez sat watching the data stream. "Sir," one analyst whispered, "they don't even shield their communication bands. Everything's analog encrypted." Vasquez sighed. "So they're not just arrogant, they're obsolete." His assistant chuckled. "It's like watching the Romans try to intimidate a cyberpunk hacker." Another tech chimed in. "Their biggest dreadnought uses 30% of its power just to cool ceremonial heat fountains." Laughter in the room, but Vasquez didn't smile. "They're still dangerous. Obsolete empires fall hard, and they bleed on the way down." Across the solar system, human satellites were already dissecting the dreadnought systems. No hacking, just passive scans. The ship's OS architecture was laughably open. In orbit, Dr. Huerta sent one last message to the ambassador. "We appreciate your visit, but you might want to update your software before someone meaner than us notices how vulnerable you are." The ambassador didn't reply. He just looked confused. As the dreadnought turned slowly away, humans across Earth, scientists, soldiers, school children, watched it shrink into the stars. One journalist summed it up best: "We just met the most powerful empire in the galaxy, and it was like watching a theater troupe try to intimidate a data center." Ambassador Lurex 8 returned to the galactic throne world of Caldera, seething with wounded pride. He delivered a dramatic report before the Sithri High Table. "They mocked us," he hissed, laughed in our faces, treated the Empire like a joke. Gasps echoed through the marble chambers. 1,000 nobles demanded blood. The Empress Consort declared it an act of blasphemous war, but others hesitated. "The humans never fired a shot," murmured General Corinth. "They didn't even arm their ship. Perhaps they're just uncultured." It didn't matter. Pride would not allow reflection. The Empire chose escalation. Within days, orders were signed. A demonstration of imperial might. A soft reminder. The location? Neutral system Yelvarnes, far from both human and imperial worlds. The target? An uninhabited moon. The message? Watch what happens to those who laugh at the Empire. 2.1. The Imperial Demonstration Word Count, 1,500. Fleet Sublegate Nulak commanded 20 warships into Yelvarnes. On the moon's surface stood nothing, just rock and dust. But the humans were invited to watch. From the observation post aboard their ship Turing's Edge, human commanders recorded everything. No intervention, just data. The Empire began their show. Orbital bombardments lit up the surface with fire and force. Rail slugs punched deep craters. Thermofusion bombs turned crust to magma. They raged for 90 full minutes. When it ended, a plume of irradiated gas hung like a bloody halo. Admiral Nulak turned to the camera, smug. "That," he said, "is mercy." Back on Earth, the footage was analyzed. One human officer summed it up. They spent 4 billion credits to blow up some rocks. No drones, no surgical strikes, no containment, just fireworks, like cavemen with grenades. The Empire waited for the humans to react. They didn't have to wait long. 2.2. Humanity responds, word count, 1,500. 6 days later, in a different neutral system, the Empire received coordinates. They sent 3 cruisers, minimal force, just in case. Waiting in orbit was a single human ship, Polaris-class stealth cruiser, Dauntless. It was sleek, silent, completely cold. The cruisers circled cautiously. Then, without firing a shot, the human ship sent a pulse. Invisible, no heat signature. One by one, The Empire's ships went dark. Engines dead. Weapons frozen. AI overwritten. From the Dauntless, a transmission was sent. You spent hours destroying stone. We ended your fleet in seconds with a whisper. The cruisers drifted in silence. Recovery teams later discovered their systems had been infected months ago by a seemingly harmless entertainment feed beamed during first contact. Embedded viral code. No one had even noticed. The Empire tried to keep it quiet. They failed. 2.3. The Galaxy Watch's word count, 1,500. News of the defeat spread faster than Empire sensors could react. On the worlds of the Neutral Accord, alien leaders played human footage on public networks. The phrase, "a whisper of ours," became a galactic meme. Species long bullied by the Empire began laughing too. For the first time in centuries, the fear began to crack. Smaller powers reached out to Earth, not for defense, but for ideas. How did you do that? Can you teach us? Will you help us free our worlds? Meanwhile, the Empire scrambled. Their intelligence services couldn't trace the hack. Their engineers didn't understand how human tech operated. Their academies called it magic and blamed sorcery. Humanity stayed quiet. They didn't celebrate. They didn't issue threats. They just watched, and the silence was terrifying. 2.4. The Empire begins to fracture word count, 1,500. In the core worlds of the Empire, riots began. Citizens demanded answers. Scholars questioned dogma. Young officers whispered heresy. What if the humans are right? Empress Consort demanded immediate war, but her generals hesitated. They don't fight like us, murmured General Corinth. They don't build big ships or burn cities. They change the rules. They don't invade, they overwrite. But even caution could not stop momentum. A secret meeting of nobles authorized a covert strike. Operation Mirrorfall. The target. A hidden human data relay suspected of guiding their stealth fleet. The Empire would burn it, or so they thought. A fleet of cloaked Imperial frigates, fitted with their best stealth tech, jumped into the uninhabited Echion expanse. Their target, a suspected human data relay, a small structure orbiting a dead planet. They planned a rapid strike. Breach, destroy, vanish. No comms, no trace. But the moment they approached, the trap triggered. The relay was a decoy. As the lead vessel moved within range, its engines flickered, then shut down. Before any could react, space around them shimmered. Hundreds of human drones uncloaked, sleek and silent. Each one no larger than a trash can. Each one armed with precision pulse disruptors. Within 23 seconds, the entire Imperial fleet was disabled. Not destroyed, just shut off, like toys. Then came the voice. You wanted a war. You got a lesson. Every Imperial ship was tractored and dragged into orbit, left hanging like ornaments. A warning to anyone watching. The galaxy took notice. 3.1. Collapse of the myth word count, 1,500. The loss of the covert fleet shattered the illusion. The Empire had always ruled with pomp and terror, but humans had revealed it for what it was, a hollow echo of ancient power. Alien civilizations once terrified now stopped obeying. Planetary governors refused tribute. Merchant guilds began trading in human crypto standard currency, bypassing Empire tariffs. The cracks widened. Protests turned to revolts. Imperial nobles fled to their homeworlds. The Scythery elite tried to clamp down. They broadcasted oaths of purity, warnings of divine punishment. But the galaxy had already seen through the curtain. They knew the humans didn't fear the Empire, because humanity had faced worse, its own history, and survived. 3.2. Humanity's calm ultimatum word count, 1,500. From Earth, a single broadcast was sent. No grand speech. No threats. Just a message, translated into every language of the known galaxy. We don't want your thrones. We don't need your crowns. But if you ever threaten us again, there will be no warnings. Only silence. Only absence. It was signed only, the Human Federation. The galaxy froze. The message wasn't angry. It wasn't boastful. It was honest. and that terrified even the boldest warlords more than any weapon ever could. Empires postured. Humans promised outcomes. 3.3. The Fall of Caldera, word count, 1,500. The Empire's capital world, Caldera, had stood unchallenged for 12 millennia. Massive planetary shields, layered defense rings, and orbiting dreadnoughts made it impenetrable. Until it wasn't. The attack came without sound. No ships, no explosions, just stillness. First, the orbital network failed. Then the defense satellites began spinning aimlessly. Then the shields, powered by quantum cores, shorted out one by one. Humanity never fired a shot. Instead, they had deployed something older than missiles: logic. A self-propagating data structure infected the Empire's command system from a single terminal, left behind during first contact, a file labeled imperial_v2.mp3. Within 5 minutes, the entire defense grid rebooted itself into passive mode. No guns, no targeting, just blank screens and error codes. Human ships appeared only after it was over, not to destroy, just to observe. Above Caldera, human drones displayed a glowing symbol, a mirror, not a weapon, not a flag, a reminder. This is what you made us. Now look at yourselves. 3.4. The New Order, word count, 1,500. The Empire didn't fall in a bang. It dissolved in silence. Worlds broke away peacefully. Former vassals established their own alliances with each other and with Earth. No invasions, no crusades, just liberation. Human engineers helped stabilize collapsed infrastructures. Human AI offered education and language tools freely to former subjects. Human diplomats never demanded allegiance, only collaboration, because this wasn't conquest. This was correction. The old order had laughed at humans once. Now the galaxy laughed at the Empire. And humanity? They just went back to work. Final epilogue. A voice in the dark, word count, 500. On the edge of the galaxy, in a quiet observatory, a young alien child watched Earth's signal broadcasts. He turned to his teacher. Are humans gods? The teacher shook her head. No, they're just people. But they remember what fear feels like, and they chose never to spread it again. The child paused. Do you think they'll come here? The teacher smiled. If we build something worth sharing, maybe. But be warned, don't try to impress them with crowns or songs. They've heard it all before. And somewhere across the stars, a file labeled Empire_MP for continue to go viral.